because I really need to read more books. I keep like starting books and I'll like get into the middle of it and then I'll stop reading. But I really want to read more books. There's just one book that I want to read, and actually to add to this, like usually or a couple Sundays ago I was posting stuff about like Sunday stories and whatever, talking about like religion and stuff like that. Just wanted to bring that up a little bit again in this video. I'm into a lot of self-help stuff, and I have been for a while. And I really I love learning about how to become a better person, even though sometimes like I feel a little bit perfectionist when I'm not doing something right with my life or whatever. So there's that, but I've been like reading a lot of self-help books that have been really eye-opening for me, and it seems like there's so many things, even not just with myself, but just like the facets of a human, go so deep. There's like a lot of hidden things that come out through time, that make you recognize like things that you need to heal in your life or your inner child and stuff. And what I've been doing and stuff is like kind of becoming the parent to myself, or at least learning how to do that, because I mean I'm still in the early stages of adulthood, so I'm like kind of, trying to grapple all that, but also still trying to teach my inner child how to love myself more. But I've been reading this book, well, little bits and pieces of The Body Keeps Score. I can't remember the author's name. The book is somewhere over there, but I'm like grabbing it. For the sake of TikTok, this book. You know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. I've also been reading a little bit of this book, which is more of a Christian-based book. And then this one I got from Five Below, and I actually finished reading all of this one. So The Body Keeps Score is a pretty hefty book, and I got it a long time ago, but I just never finished it. But a lot of people, like in science or psychology, will quote that book the most. The Triggers book really helped me a lot, and I've been wanting to do more of the shadow work stuff too. But for the purposes of this video, I wanted to give an example, an example from The Body Keeps Score, and an example from How to Manage Your Emotions, the smaller book that I showed you. So there was an example in The Body Keeps Score of a boy who witnessed the 9/11 attacks, like from his window in school, and saw like bodies like flying out the window as like the plane was hitting the Twin Towers. And like I can't even imagine like seeing that. Like I didn't even know what was going on when school closed early. My parents were like rushing to get me, so I can't even imagine what it would be like to actually experience some type of traumatic event like that. But this kid like drew a picture of what happened, I guess like to help him get over the trauma. And apparently his home life was pretty loving, and it was a safe environment for him, I guess, for him to process his emotions. But when he was drawing the picture, he drew the scene of what happened on 9/11, but then he drew like all these like little black things around the buildings and stuff. And when he was asked like what that was, he said they were trampolines, for when it happens again, they can have a place to land. And I thought that was like so interesting because, as I've been realizing too, even before I read that part, I was like, our brain has the ability to make up scenarios for our own good. I mean, sometimes there's things that aren't really the truth, but I mean, for example, when it comes to that, like that was his way of healing and processing what he went through, and to think like, oh, well, they'll just have trampolines next time. And it was just like a really resilient way of getting over a traumatic event. And for me, like, in my experience and stuff, like when I have to interact with people, like sometimes interacting with people can be really hard for me, and it has been over the last like couple of years for some reason. Like I really like in person, and I can't believe I'm actually admitting that right now, because I don't really usually actually talk about this, but I have it's like intense social anxiety and stuff, but that I might have mentioned, but it's just like whenever I get in front of people or even talk to people sometimes, like it's just really hard for me to connect, because I guess there's like 1,000 things going on in my mind, but I don't know, but it's like in general, like last couple of years has been really hard for me to connect with people. So when I see someone I'm working, even though I want to give good like service to them, I still have an immense fear of talking to them and like having them judge me, and um which is something like, most people probably would make fun of me for, but I like experienced a lot of bullying and stuff when I was younger. So it kind of, I think that also surfacing as an adult kind of made me feel, um, I struggle with that sometimes. And plus, maybe even like some of the other things that I've been through in my life has made me almost fear interactions with people because I just don't know how they're going to treat me. But lately, I've just been able to recognize that, someone probably is just going through a bad day, and that it's not always about someone being upset with me or not something that I did wrong or whatever, and that I don't have to be afraid in doing that. I can just like make up something in my mind or just like think about something else that would be more productive than just automatically having a negative thought in my brain saying that it's wrong or that I'm faulty or something. And I feel like the managing emotions book is almost like they're almost like night and day a little bit, because um what I found in the Christian community and stuff, while there are a lot of things that can be really helpful when it comes to mental health, there's also, that constant like, oh, you have to rely on God every single time. It's like rely on God, rely on God, rely on God, instead of actually looking at the science behind, why is this person feeling sad? Why is this person like going through these traumatic events, and like what can they do for themselves that it's actually going to help them to stop or to reframe their mindset so they can actually be more productive. But like in the Christian world, it's more like you have to rely on God every single time, and if you do something that offends God, then all these, it's like a double standard every time, which makes it really confusing. But I understand what is meant when they say trust God. Um, I definitely agree, to some certain extent, but I also think that, just saying that, I feel like doesn't always get to the root problem of why someone is depressed, like I said, or is experiencing trauma. I think the Managing Your Emotions book is actually pretty good, though, and it provides a lot of good scenarios, and examples of people who, I guess we all go through similar things, just like different stories. Um, but the examples are really good in the way that the author talks to his patients, and like the examples that he gives like really helps you to look at yourself, and I think I really appreciate that. However, there was one example that I was reading recently that I didn't really 100% agree with, for a couple of reasons. But I'll make a part 2 to this one and talk more about that one.